Hello, everyone. Good evening and welcome to our second ever family quiz brought to you by the Great Exhibition Road Festival. My name is Connor and I work for the Natural History Museum in London, and I'll be your host and quizmaster for today. Now, today's quiz is all about science, specifically all about our changing planet, from the way we farm to plastic pollution to what makes up the air all around us. Now, I won't be hosting this quiz on my own. In a moment, I'll be joined by two other quizmasters from our good neighbours, one from the Imperial College London and one from the Science Museum. Now, we'd love to hear who you all are, who's joining us today. So in the live chat, if you want to, please tell us your names, who the children and adults are, so we know who's in there. And if you'd like to participate in the live chat, an adult needs to sign in using a Gmail address. But without further ado, I think we should get cracking. So let me introduce our two other quiz masters today. So first up, we have Sarah, who is a plastics researcher from Imperial. Hey, Sarah, thanks so much for joining us today.
Hiya, really nice to be here.
I'm super excited for this quiz. Okay, cool. And then we've also got Sarah, who is an explainer at the Science Museum.
Hello, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Hi, Sarah. So we have Sarah and Sarah. So Sarah squared. You'll both have your own special rounds of questions today. And I'll also have a round of questions for everyone to do at home. But you're both not off the hook. We thought that you should be taking part and joining in with everyone else at home today as well. So Sarah K will be finding out about how well you know about capturing carbon. That's a mouthful. And Sarah Q, we're interested to see how you do on the plastics round. So for everyone at home, we want to know how you're doing too. First of all, you're going to need a team name. So get your team ready. Adults and children, everyone get together and work out what you want to be called. Let us know what your team names are in the chat box, and we'll try and read some of those before we begin. Now, whilst you do that, I'll let you know more about the rules. So there's going to be 3 rounds with 4 questions each. First up will be my round, which is called Our Broken Planet. And then we're going to go on to our plastic planet from Sarah K. And finally, our green planet with Sarah Q. Now, we'll go through the questions first, and then we'll go through the answers after each round. So you won't have to wait until the very end for all of the answers. There's 1 point for each correct answer, but some questions are going to give you a half point, 2 half points to make a full point. So that's a total of 12 points. Now, do talk in your teams at home, figure out what the answers are, but please don't write any answers in the chat. You don't want to give it away to anyone else. And if you see someone else doing that in the chat, don't be tempted to copy because they might not be right. And you'll need a pen or a pencil and some paper to write down your answers and keep track as you go along. There aren't any physical prizes, but this quiz is about taking away the greatest prize of all, and that is knowledge. But also to have fun and learn about science. So, Sarah and Sarah, what would your quiz team names be?
Oh, that's a good question. I think for my team name, I would go with solar power because that's my favorite renewable energy source. And a little clue about what my round is going to be about.
Cool, very cool.
And I'm going to go for a tree hugger because I love trees, and they're also part of our green future.
Awesome. And repping the Natural History Museum, my team is the Natural Quiz Champions because I love puns. I see we're already getting some great team names in the chat. We've got Team Ava, got Team NASA. So fantastic names in there. Keep it coming. So we've got Team FM as well. Fantastic. So we've got lots of teams going in the chat. But I think, Pete, please keep sending in your team names. But I think it's about time to get started with our first round. So yeah, it's my round. So Welcome to the first round of the quiz. So this is Our Broken Planet. Now at the Natural History Museum, I'm working on a brand new project for 2021 called Our Broken Planet, How We Got Here and Ways to Fix It. With this, the museum is taking a look at the challenges we all face while living in a planetary emergency and shining a light on the solutions being pioneered by our scientists, but also scientists around the world, as well as communities, organizations, and amazing individuals. Now, if you have the chance to visit the Natural History Museum, you'll be able to see this gallery for free, included with your free general admission. And you'll notice when you visit that it's split into 3 sections. Number 1, the food we eat. Number 2, nature for sale. And number 3, the climate emergency. Now, for this section of the quiz today, you'll need to have some knowledge on all 3 of these topics. Now, for the first question, people have been domesticating animals for thousands of years on farms and have turned large parts of our planet's surface into farmland in order to feed the millions of people here on Earth. Now, bearing that in mind, take a look at this picture on the screen. This skull, this is question number 1, this skull belongs to the extinct ancient ancestor of which modern day farm animal? Is it A, sheep? Is it B, cow? Is it C, goat? Or is it D, pig? Sarah's, any clues? Can you see any clues in the picture?
I'm looking at the horns.
They're
Yeah.
quite big, aren't they?
Yeah.
Quite big. Yeah. So I'm going to read that out another time. So this skull belongs to the extinct ancient ancestor of which modern day farm animal? Is it A, sheep? Is it B, cow? Is it C, goat? Or is it D, pig? Okay. I think we've had enough time on question 1. It's time to move on to our second question of this evening's quiz, and this one relates to nature for sale. So substances that are harmful to wildlife and nature are often used to clean objects before they are sold, such as toxic chemicals used to keep pests off of growing food. Unfortunately, a lot of these chemicals end up in our oceans, either being washed down rivers or being dumped there. So my question is, this is question number 2, scientists at the museum have measured pollution in the oceans going back over 100 years by doing what? Is it A, counting the amount of teeth that sharks have? Is it B, drinking salty water from the ocean and seeing if it tastes bad? Is it C, examining the chemicals in layers in whale earwax? Or is it D, measuring the length of walrus tusks? Some really strange activities there, aren't there?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I think there's some of the things that I wouldn't really advise for scientists to do, but anything for science. So we've got question number 2 again. Scientists at the museum have measured pollution in the oceans by going back over 100 years by doing what? Is it A, counting the amount of teeth that sharks have? Is it B, drinking salty water from the ocean and seeing if it tastes bad? Is it C, examining the chemicals in layers of whale earwax? Or is it D, measuring the length of walrus tusks? Okay, now it's time for the third question, this time looking at the climate crisis. Now, we'll be hearing more about carbon, greenhouse gases, and climate change from Sarah Q a bit later. So these are the things that make up the atmosphere and the air around us. But which of these following activities emits the largest amount of greenhouse gases per year? Is it A, burning oil, gas, and coal? Is it B, rotting waste and plants? Is it C, cow farts and burps? Or is it D, volcanoes erupting? So greenhouse gases are the gases that get released after these activities, and they help warm up the earth faster than it should be. So I'll read that out again. Which of the following emits the largest amount of greenhouse gases per year? Is it A, burning oil, gas, and coal? Is it B, rotting waste and plants? Is it C, cow farts and burps? Or is it D, volcanoes erupting? Okay, I think we've had enough time there. And time for my final question, question number 4. True or false? There are more chickens on planet Earth than people. Quite as straightforward, a 50-50, but might be tricky to work out. So is that true or false? There are more chickens on planet Earth than people. Okay, quite a strange question. Alrighty. Okay, so hopefully everyone is finishing up their answers for this first round. I hope you're all doing really, really well at home because it's time to go through the answers to each question. So let's see how both of our Sarahs did, but also let's see how you at home did too. So let's go back to question number 1. This skull belongs to the extinct ancestor of which modern-day farm animal? And that was B, cow. So if you put cow, you got the question right. Congratulations. So you might have been able to tell by the horns, which look a bit like those that you can find on a bull, which is a male cow. And this skull in particular belongs to an animal called an aurochs, which is a wild ancestor of the cows you can find on farms today. And you can see both skulls side by side in the Albroken Planet Gallery. And I think we've also got an image of a cave painting of one that was discovered in France. So you can see there with the big horns on its head as well. Okay, great. Really hope everyone got that one right. So moving on to the answer for question 2. And this was, scientists at the museum have measured pollution in the oceans going back over 100 years by doing what? And the answer to that was C, which is examining the chemicals in layers of whale earwax. So Sarah, how did you get on with this one?
Well, I wanted to maybe think that maybe people were drinking ocean water, but obviously that's not safe. But I had no idea that we were
That's not ocean
checking the
water.
chemicals in whale earwax. That's a bit grim.
It's really quite fascinating. It sounds
Very cool.
pretty gross. Yeah, it sounds pretty
very gross, but cool.
But like much like in us humans, earwax builds up in a whale's ears over time, and it basically it builds up to clean and protect their inner ear. Now, unlike us, whales don't have fingers or stuff to poke it out, so that means it builds up over their entire life, which can be up to 80 or 90 years. And year by year, it builds up in different layers, a bit like the rings in a tree. And those layers give scientists a snapshot of that year that it was alive. So that's how well the whale ate, if it was stressed out, and yeah, also to see what chemicals might have been in the ocean. So we've got a photograph from the Our Broken Planet Gallery where you can actually see a whale earwax plug on display. And it's kind of hard to tell how big it is there, but it's probably about the length of my arm here. So quite big. I've got quite big ears.
Yeah.
Okay, so once again, best of luck everyone at home with that one. Let's move on to question 3. So which of the following emits the largest amounts of greenhouse gases per year? And the answer to this was A, burning oil, gas, and coal. And you can see here, that's done by traffic and vehicles that we get around in, among many other activities. So burning these releases carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, which is by far the most prevalent greenhouse gas in our atmosphere. And they create like a blanket in our skies that traps heat and means that the Earth warms up much quicker than it would naturally. So if we were ranking these in order, second would be the rotting wastes and plants, which would be 17%. By the way, this was 57% per year. And then that's followed by the methane released by cows farting and burping at 3.7%. And finally, at the very bottom is the gases released by naturally erupting volcanoes at only 0.8% per year. So that means that like the carbon dioxide coming from volcanoes is only 1% of that released by human activity in an average year. So it shows that like humans are having the biggest impact in enhancing this greenhouse effect. So I hope everyone at home got that one right. And let's move on to the answer to our final question, which was true or false. There are more chickens on planet Earth than people. How did Sarah, how do you think you did on this? What did you put?
I want to say yes, because there are just so many chickens.
Yeah. So you're absolutely right. It's true. So as of early 2020, it was estimated that there was 7.8 billion people on Earth, which is a lot of people. There's definitely more than I know. But in 2019, it was estimated there were 25.9 billion chickens on the planet. So that means there's about 3 chickens for every 1 person on the planet. So yeah, that's a lot of chickens. I don't know, Sarah, and also people in the chat, please pop in your answer. Why do you think there are so many chickens? What do you think people use chickens for? Any ideas? Oh,
Meat
Sarah Q, I think
Oh,
you're on mute.
I'm on mute. That's so silly. I was saying I think chickens are really cute, so hopefully everyone's keeping them as pets.
Yeah, I love chickens. They're adorable. And also modern day living dinosaurs, which is cool. Okay, so that comes to the end of the first round. So well done if you got any of those questions right, but especially if you got all 4 of the questions right. That's 1 point for you for each question. So you can add up your scores at home and let us know in the chat how you got on today. So Team NASA got 3 right. Well done. Sarah K and Sarah Q, how did you do while everyone else is tallying up?
So I only got 3 right. I got very confused about the scientist one, and I thought it was to do with walrus tusks. But yes, I've learned so much that it's actually with earwax. That's really cool.
Yeah.
But very gross.
Team FM have 4 points. Great. Sarah K, how did you get on?
Yep, same. I got 3 points because the second question really confused me. I went for sharks. Somehow I thought maybe counting teeth of sharks might provide us with an answer.
So yeah, earwax was the hidden answer. We've got another team that got 4 right in the chat. Well done, everybody. So I think that's pretty much it. Wrapping up for round 1 of the quiz. Oh, someone else got 3 right. Someone else got 4 right. Well done, everyone. Everyone's doing so good. Okay, so I think it's time for round 2 of our quiz nights. This is the Our Plastic Planet round, which means we'll be saying goodbye to Sarah Q for now, and I'll be passing over to Sarah K. So see you soon, Sarah Q.
See you soon.
Okay, Sarah, tell us a little bit more about what you do at Imperial.
Yeah, so I'm a final year PhD student at the Center for Environmental Policy, and my work is all about biodegradable plastics. So some of you might have heard of them. So they're plastics that we have made so that they can break down. There's so much going on nowadays with plastic pollution, so it's a way to combat that. But my work is really trying to understand how good they are, where they can be helpful, and how we can work collectively to make sure that they don't do more harm than good.
So really, really important work, which is super important for all of our futures, basically. Okay, so anyone at home, if you have a question about plastics or recycling for Sarah, please let us know in the live chat and we'll get to some of them at the end of the round. Please put in your questions. It'd be great to answer any burning ideas or questions that you have. So I think, Sarah, if it's okay with you, let's start your round. Do you want to go for question 1?
Yes. So the first question is quite a general question around plastic pollution to start with the topic. So how many million tons of plastic are being dumped in our ocean every single year? And that's globally. Is it A, 1 ton, B, 1 million ton, B, 8 million tons, C, 50 million tons, or D, 300 million tons?
Wow. Whatever it is, that's a lot of plastic.
Yep. So how many million tons of plastic are being dumped in oceans every year? So again, A, is it 1 million tons, B, 8 million tons, C, 50 million tons, or D, 300 million tons of plastic?
Wow. Okay, that's a lot of plastic, whatever it is. Okay, I think, should we move on to question 2? Everyone get your answers in, make sure to write them down. Don't type it in the chat box, but write them down on your piece of paper. So yeah, question number 2.
Yeah, so question number 2. So in this question, there are 2 correct answers. So you will get half a point for each. So the question is around recycling. So you can see here 4 pictures of different types of food packaging, plastic packaging. So which plastic packaging can you recycle? And we're talking about UK environment. So which packaging can you put in the blue recycling bin? Is it A packet of crisps, B, a water plastic bottle, C, a yogurt pot, or D, cling film?
Okay, so
Yep.
I was going to say, this is all stuff that people probably recognize. They might have at home or have seen out and about.
Yeah, exactly. And so only 2 of them can actually be widely recycled in the UK. So is it A, crisp packet, B, plastic bottle, C, a yogurt pot, or D, some cling film?
Okay, cool. And I'm guessing there's probably more than one right answer here, isn't there?
Yes.
Okay.
Hopefully people will think also, so it's you can think about what you do at home, and hopefully that might give you some indication, or perhaps you will find out that some things you thought you could recycle are actually pretty challenging to recycle.
A really useful question. Let's move on to question 3, shall we?
So sorry, this one is a bit wordy, but so my work is a lot around also bioplastic, and so this question is basically, what are bioplastics? So a plastic is considered a bioplastic if A, it is made from plants, B, it can be broken down by natural processes, C, it can be composted with garden and food waste, or D, all of the above.
Okay. Bioplastics, that's quite new to me as well, actually.
Yeah, it's a relatively new concept, not easy to grasp, slightly confusing, as we'll see. But so a plastic is considered a bioplastic if A, it is made from plants, B, it can be broken down by natural processes, C, it can be composted with garden and food waste, and D, all of the above.
Okay, so hopefully everyone's had enough time to consider those, write them down. So we're going to move on to the last question of this round.
Okay, so the final question is on composting and compostable plastics. So you can put compostable plastics together with your food waste in the brown bin that you can see here, but you need to be able to identify them, and that's why they have some logos or some signs. So which one of these 4 logos is not a real certified compostable logo? So you have 3 logos that are actually real and 1 that is a fake logo.
So just to double check, so the logo is like a sign that's on the packaging that means it can go in the brown food waste bin, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And if you don't see this logo on a piece of plastic, it means that you probably shouldn't put it in there.
So we have an imposter logo in here, don't we? Okay. So take a good look, everyone, at all of those logos. See if you might recognize any. And I think that's the final question in Sarah's plastics round. So while everyone at home is writing down their answers, we've actually got a couple of questions in the chat that, if you wouldn't mind, Sarah, could put to you.
Yeah,
So
sure.
we've got a question in the chat that says, is there an app that identifies products with microplastics via scanning a barcode?
Ooh, I am not aware of it. So is there an app that identifies products with microplastics? I have never heard of such an app, but that would be interesting. I don't know if the
Yeah.
person asking the question has seen that themselves, or if anyone else in the chat has actually seen that app, that'd be great.
That's a really good idea. Yeah, if anyone else watching knows of that app, yeah, please pop it in the chat. So we've got another question. So how does the plastic break down? And that might be a question about the bioplastics, but maybe plastics more generally.
Yeah, so I'm assuming the question is around bioplastic, but so the issue with conventional plastics is that they don't break down, or they break down, but to a certain extent, which is why we get microplastics. So they will break down into smaller and smaller pieces, but they will reach a point where they don't break down anymore. And so you end up with lots of tiny, tiny pieces of plastics everywhere. With biodegradable plastics, so the ones that are really certified, so the ones that have the logo, they will break down by, there are different ways, but it always involves microbes, so little bugs that will eat up the plastic, break it down into small pieces, and then they will use it as food.
Wow, that's incredible. I didn't know that myself. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question. And yeah, after that, hopefully everyone has had a chance to get their answers down. So let's go through the correct answers to the questions. So Sarah, do you want to tell us what the correct answers were?
Yeah, so the first question was about the amount of plastic that is being dumped into our oceans every year. And the answer is B. It's 8 million tons.
Wow.
And if you struggle to visualize this, it's the equivalent of dumping one garbage truck full of plastics every minute in our ocean.
Whoa, that's a lot. Wow.
Yeah, it's quite a sombering number. So, okay, number 2. So for the second question was about recycling. And remember, you had 2 correct answers. So the 2 correct answers are B, the plastic bottle, and C, the yogurt pot. So the issue here with number A, for example, the crisp packet is actually composed of many different types of plastics, many different layers, and there's also an aluminium layer inside to keep the crisps crispy. And that makes it really difficult to recycle. So at the moment, unless you have some specialized facilities, it's really difficult to do that. And D, the cling film is just generally in the UK not commonly recycled because of the properties of the material. Having said that, there are different things vary in different places in the UK. So always check with your local council to make sure that the plastics you use, that you can put them down the recycling bin. But generally speaking, B and C, you can put them consistently in the UK in the bin, recycling bin.
So really, really useful stuff to know in case, I'm sure many people got that right, but just in case, really, really useful stuff. So yeah, question 3.
Cool, question 3. So question 3 was quite tricky, but the answer you might maybe have got it from how it was phrased, but it's D, all of the above. So bioplastic is really confusing, but broadly speaking, a plastic is considered as a bioplastic if it is either made from plants, or if it can be broken down by natural processes. And one of these natural processes is composting. So you have some plastics that are made from plants but might not actually biodegrade, but they're still called bioplastic. So you can see quite difficult term to understand for lots of people, and so we have to be really careful how we use these.
Okay. So well done if you got D, all of the above. And final question of this round.
And that leads us, to the final question. So it was about logo and labeling, and the answer was D. So D is actually a fake logo, which you might see a lot around products that are actually not really eco-friendly. And so actually I have an example here of 2 pieces of, so this is interestingly a crisp packet that is compostable. So it's not recyclable, but it can be composted. And you can see here, you have the 2 logos that are being there, and this is a seed packaging, so lots of like nuts and seeds, and again you can see the packaging, the logos on the packaging. So it's really important for you to look at the logos before putting things in the food waste bin.
Wow.
And I think that closes all the question. How did you do?
Honestly, I found that last one really, really hard. And actually, I don't think I did too good on the first question either. I actually went for the highest option, which was over 300 million tons. So actually, a bit of a positive when I found out the true answer in a way. It was way less than I was expecting, but still not a great number. And well, the work that you're doing and lots of plastics researchers are doing are helping to solve all these issues. I see we're getting some answers in the chat. We've got Team Fixed Planet got 2, another team that got 2 as well. Well done everyone for getting these points. Every point is valuable. Fantastic. So should we bring back in Sarah Q to see how Sarah Q got on with this? Team NASA got 2 points as well. Hey Sarah, how did you get on?
Oh, I really struggled with that round as well. I only got 2 right. I also went for a really big number as well for the plastics. But that was a really cool round. I feel like I've learned a lot as well.
Yeah, lots of really useful stuff that I can use like around the home and stuff to help out. So thank you so much, Sarah Kay, for that. That was a fantastic round. I'm sure everyone else learned so much. Oh, we got someone else got 3 points as well. But for now, I think it's time for our third and final round. So we'll be saying goodbye to Sarah Kay for now until the end. So bye, Sarah. Okay, cool. So I'm going to pass over to you, Sarah. Do you want to tell us a bit about what you do at the Science Museum?
Yeah, I'd love to. So hello, everyone. My name is Sarah Q, and I'm an explainer at the Science Museum. And as an explainer, you will find me in the Science Museum's interactive galleries doing shows, demonstrations, and chatting all things science. We love chatting about science. And at the Science Museum, we have a new gallery called Our Future Planet. And you can kind of see there's a theme here today in the quiz. And it focuses on new technology that will capture carbon out of our air to help reduce the amount of carbon dioxide in our atmosphere. So if you do get a chance to come and visit the Science Museum on a weekend or school holiday, we run free climate events, including our Carbon Car, where we talk about renewable energy and carbon capture. And that's going to be the theme of this next round.
Okay, I'm super excited. Yeah, do you want to kick off? Let's go for the first question of the final round.
Yeah. So, time for the first question. We need to use cleaner and greener energy sources. So, I'm going to ask you at home, which one of these is a renewable energy source? Is it A, natural gas, B, wind, or C, oil?
Okay, just to double check, what does renewable mean? Does that mean it can be used again?
Yeah, great question. And that's exactly right. Something that is renewable means it doesn't run out. It can be used again and again and again. So that's a little bit of a clue, maybe. What do you think we have a lot of and would not run out of? And what stuff do you think we definitely might run out of?
Okay,
so I'll repeat the question for everyone again. My question was, which one of these is a renewable energy source? So we've got A, natural gas, B, wind, or C, oil.
Okay, I've got some ideas of what it could
be.
Good. Yeah, everyone watching at home, please don't forget, if you've got any questions for any of us, please pop them in the chat. We can get to those at the end. So let's move on to question 2.
Okay, so the next question is, and I need you guys to fill in the blanks, and you're going to get a half point for each one you get right. So there's 1 point in total up for grabs, but if you get one word right, you will get a half point. So solar cells convert blank energy into blank energy. Okay, so fill in those blanks for me. It's 2 different words. Maybe have a think of the word solar and what we need solar for. But once again, I'll repeat the question. So solar cells convert blank energy into blank energy.
That picture could help people out quite a lot, I think.
Definitely.
It looks like a very nice day in that picture, I'd say.
It does, yeah. Definitely. Okay. For solar cells to work, we need a lot of one thing.
Okay, awesome. Shall we move on to question number 3?
Definitely. Okay. So question number 3 is, what are fossil fuels formed from? Maybe there's a little bit of a clue in that title.
I think if people have visited the Natural History Museum, they might have an idea about that first word.
hmm
Yeah.
Lots of fossils at the Natural History
Yes.
Museum.
Yes. So they'll have an edge if they visited the
Yeah,
Natural History Museum.
definitely. So
Okay.
I'll repeat the question again. And it is, what are fossil fuels formed from?
Okay. Right. We'll give people a little second more there to think about what fossils might be. And then let's move on to the final question.
Okay, and my last question is, what naturally occurring things on our planet help us remove carbon dioxide? So there's 1 point up for grabs here, but there are many different options and answers to this question. Have a little think about what things might use carbon dioxide to live. But once again, what naturally occurring things on our planet help us remove carbon dioxide?
Okay. So, as we said earlier, carbon dioxide is one of those greenhouse gases that helps to contribute warm up the planet. Naturally occurring things. So you want to be thinking about what's outside and isn't made by people without giving too much away. Okay. um, all right. Okay. So that's going to bring us the end of round 3. And I think it would be good to start going through the answers. So hopefully everyone watching along and playing along has had a chance to write down their answers and talk with their other team members. But yeah, I think we should start to go through these answers. So, Sarah Q, what's the answer to question number 1?
So the answer to question 1 is B, wind. The other, so wind is our only renewable energy source there. And so, like we said before, a renewable energy source is something that will not run out. And with natural gas and oil, they are not renewable. And natural gas and oil are examples of fossil fuels, which means they will run out. And now, if you think about living in the UK, it's very windy here, and we have very high wind speeds. That means wind power is a great renewable energy source for us. And in fact, wind power is the largest source of renewable energy in the UK. And maybe everyone at home might have seen these big wind turbines on land or maybe in the sea. And actually, wind power contributed 24% of our total electricity generation in 2020. So it's a really great renewable energy source.
That's so cool. And it's also great to hear that here in the UK we're so perfectly placed to
Yes,
harness the power of the wind. What a great. You know what? I don't mind a windy day anymore. They sound pretty good to me.
they are. Just appreciate a windy day. It's given us lots of electricity.
Yeah. Shall we go on to the second answer?
Yes, fantastic. So it was to fill in the blanks, which are solar cells convert blank energy into blank energy. And the answers are light and electrical. So it would read solar cells convert light energy into electrical energy. And if you said electricity instead, you can still have a point for that, definitely. And I've got a little demonstration here. I've got one of my little solar toys that I have. It's my little flower. So solar cells convert light energy from the sun into electrical energy, and electricity is the flow of charge generally carried by tiny particles that we can't see called electrons. Now I'm going to pretend that this torch is the sun, and you'll see hopefully just there, I've got a little solar cell on the front of my little plant toy. And when the sunlight hits the solar cell, it causes the electrons to move. As they get pushed around, the electrons create a current, which is combined together to produce electricity that we can use. And as I demonstrate with my little solar toy, you'll see I'm shining my torch, which I'm pretending is the sun with the light energy, onto the little solar cell. And you can see that my little plant is moving. It's generated electricity for my plant. But once I take the light away, you'll see that my toy starts to slow down and it stops moving. But there we go. We'll give it a little bit more of a dance. There we go. And that's what happens with really, really, really big solar panels. We're using that light energy to be converted into electrical energy.
That toy was adorable. That was a great
I love it.
demonstration. Thanks for bringing that along. That was really, really cool. Great. Let's move on to question number 3.
Perfect. So the third question was, what are fossil fuels formed from? And the answers are, there were multiple answers. Hopefully you've said one of these: plants, trees, animals, anything organic. And I did give you a little clue in the question, of course. Fossil fuels are made of fossils. So these are found in the Earth's crust, and they are made from plants, animals, and other living things that are buried under sediment and rock. And they take millions of years to form. And as I said before, they're a non-renewable energy source because we will run out. Also, burning fossil fuels for energy has caused a lot of problems for our planet. Like you mentioned, Connor, it's a greenhouse gas and it traps a lot of heat. And that's because the living things would have trapped carbon dioxide when they grew millions of years ago. So when we burn the fuel, that carbon dioxide is released back into the atmosphere and causes a lot of problems.
So it's pretty much better left under the ground, isn't it?
I would think so, yes.
Yeah. But thankfully, we've got lots of wind here in the UK, so
Yes.
that can help us out. And there's a lot of other types of renewable energy out there, isn't there?
Definitely. Yeah, so like we said, we've got solar energy with my solar toy, geothermal energy, hydropower, tidal power, lots of really great inventive ways that we can harness energy.
So many good options. And then, so moving on to our final question of this round and the final question of tonight. Let's see how people got on. Do you want to reveal the answer?
Yes, so the answer for this one, there were multiple answers. So well done if you were able to name more than one. It is trees, boglands, wetlands, peatlands, oceans, tundra, and permafrost. So carbon is stored in the earth, in the soil, in minerals, in plant life, in oceans, and in bogs. And when we burn coal, forests, or bogs, we release the stored carbon into our atmosphere as carbon dioxide. Now, some of these stores, like boglands and tundra, need to be protected so we do not release carbon dioxide on their own, and also to preserve natural habitats, of course. But some scientists have been inspired by nature to create a mechanical tree that absorbs carbon dioxide, similar to how real trees do. And we have a prototype of one in our future planet. So capturing carbon is just one way we can help to reduce the amount of carbon dioxide in our air, but there are many other ways to reducing the amount of fossil fuels we burn and using much cleaner and greener energy, such as renewables, like I've gone on so much today, like wind and solar panel.
Amazing. So well done, everyone at home, if you got points there. Well done if you got all 4 of those right. 1 point for each question. Please let us know in the chat how you got on. Add up your scores and let us know. We're going to bring back Sarah Kay and see how Sarah Kay did real quickly. Thank you so much, everyone. Sarah Kay, how did you get on?
I am very proud to say I got all of them right. So
nice. Excellent. Congratulations. I thought that there were some great questions here. So someone else got 4 questions right in the chat. Team K got 3.5. Well done. Amazing scores. Team Ava, 4 out of 4. Fantastic. We've got some incredible people playing tonight. Well done, everybody. Okay, so we got some great scores there. Thank you so much for joining in. And just before we wrap up today, I've got a question for both of you, Sarah K and Sarah Q. What's one thing anybody at home could do to make a greener future? Sarah Q, is it okay if I come to you first?
Yeah, I've got one. It's one of my favorite things to do, and that's to eat food that is in season because it's a lot cheaper as well. So just have a look about what things are growing locally and are in season to grow, just so that they don't have to travel too far to get to our plates. So that's my favorite thing to do because it's also a bit cheaper as well.
Thank you. Sarah Kay?
Oh, I've got 2, but I'm going to stick to one if we
Nice.
have to. Speaking of traveling, grab a bike. Get on a bike and go. And I think we've got lots of families today. So that's such a fun thing to do with your family. Or just go for a walk. Try to avoid the car when you can. And it's great fun and good for your health and for the health of our planet.
Yeah, absolutely. And if I could say one, I'd say don't immediately throw out old clothes, because a lot of your clothes can be reworn, they can be mended. You can pick up a new skill mending your clothes, and yeah, they won't end up in landfill so quickly. So yeah, I'd say hold on to your old clothes. You can have many uses for them, and you can pass them down. If they don't fit you anymore, you can pass them down to other members in your family or friends as well. So lots and lots of things that you can do. So everyone in the chat, please put what your total scores were, because we have now come to the end of the quiz. We'd love to know what your total scores were. How did you do? Let us know your team name and your score right next to it. But before we wrap up, thank you so much, everyone, for playing along and taking part in this great Exhibition Road Family Festival quiz. A recording of it will be available here on YouTube in a few minutes if you want to rewatch it and share it with your friends. We've got a great comment in chat saying stop cutting trees. That would be a great way to make a greener future as well. Look at how your energy supplier sources their energy. Some great, that's fantastic suggestion. We're also going to post a link in the chat to a quick survey where you can tell us what you thought of this event. We'd love to know what you thought, and it only takes about 5 minutes to tell us. And keep an eye out in the future for more workshops and events from the Great Exhibition Road Festival. Team NASA got 8.5 points in total, really good. 10 points in total, amazing scores. But we're pretty much out of time here, so we're going to have to wrap up. Thank you both, Sarah Kate and Sarah Q, for joining us today. And from all of us here, bye everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.